Among my collections of things, I have lots of drafting equipment, parallel rules, compasses, dividers, proportional dividers, pencil sharpeners, slide rules, planometers. A planometer I haven't figured out how to use yet, but if you had a map and here was a lake on your property, you take this device, this contraption, and you somehow trace around this with your planometer, and it reads off some number over here or somewhere here. And I don't know, you're supposed to write these numbers down. I don't know how it works, but when you're all done, when you go all the way back to here, the number, it ends up where the number started. If you started at 0, it turns to 6 and 8 and 20 and 30 and then 40 and then back. Somehow it ends up at 0. And when you're done, you're somehow able to figure out how much perimeter, how much area this thing encompasses. And I've never learned how to use that machine, but let me show it to you. Okay, where is it? Here's one of them. Here's another. And another. This one goes with that. So these are 3 planometers. Now, somehow they work in letting you know how big your pond is on your property. And those are my planometers. Well, I also have another thing I just got on eBay, and when I saw it, I thought, oh my God, it's one of those. And one of those were, I first learned of one of these things from a PBS TV show about mapping. Was it, or was it longitude and latitude, or was it I don't know what it was, but it was about how the British Empire measured India. They wanted to make a map of India, and they vaguely knew what it was, but they didn't know the actual points on the map where this thing was, and the elevations and all this other stuff. So they sent a couple of guys out with their tripod transits and their plumb bobs and their charts and their maps and their whatever they needed to do this map. And it's easy when you have a flat plane to measure how long something is there. Hello, Osni, how are you? But when you're going up a hill, then you have to triangulate all sorts of stuff. But what they use to measure length on a length between this point and that point, they would have 2 points, and they would somehow figure out this length. And it was a big, long length. It was more than an inch, more than a foot, more than 3 feet. But what they used, rather than using a tape measure and a ruler or a yardstick, they had these things. They were metal poles with a chain link and another metal pole and a chain link. And somehow the metal things did not expand and contract with heat, and they were sturdy enough, and they didn't rip or tear or get rusty. And that's how they did it, with these big solid metal things with a link in between. So I got myself on eBay a meter. And here it is. This is a meter. And it doesn't have much of a gradation. Oh, I'm starting at the wrong end. J. Evans, London. This is 10 centimeters. From here to there is 10. Doesn't have 5, doesn't have centimeters. It just has 10. And then there's 20 and 30 and 40, all the way to 100 centimeters, which is here. And somehow this is used in making maps and surveying, because it really doesn't have any other function. But somehow this is more accurate or more doable than carrying around a solid meter-long stick. And so I tried to find online directions on how to use this thing. And when I type in brass ruler, I get all these stupid things. Brass folding ruler. The closest I could come up with to this, a wrapper chain. There is in my collection of debris, I have things like this, which are catalogs for drafting sets. So here's a pantograph. Now what a pantograph does is make a large copy of something small. If I had a little tiny, or if I had a portrait and I wanted to have it be a coin, I would use a pantograph. I'd trace around the portrait, and then that would give me a smaller version of it on a I've got a pantograph right here, right within here. There's one right here. This is a pantograph, and this is a pencil on this end, and something else somewhere else. Oh, there's a pencil and a point. So the pencil is what I'm drawing, and I'm tracing around the thing with a point. Meanwhile, this is bolted to my table. Everything else moves. And by setting these pegs in different locations, I'll either make a copy that's exactly the same size, or twice as big, or 1/10 smaller. And that's kind of neat. So anyway, I was looking for, under surveying, I was trying to find this thing that I bought. And the closest I could come up with is a chain, which maybe is what you're talking about. They don't call it a wrapper chain. Steel wire for baseline measurements. There's something that was a chain with links, like similar to what I have here. It is measuring chains. So this, I think, is what this thing is, except this is 50 feet long. And then in between, there's some of these are marked with, you know, you're at 10 feet, you're at 20 feet. But so I need to measuring chains. I need to figure out what, how they're used, why they're used rather than this. Surveying barometers. Surveying is hard, I guess. Ruling pens. So anyway, this is my newest acquisition from eBay. It's just neat. It looks like it's something I should, that a ninja warrior would have to lasso someone and then strangle them. The circle shape is used for rounded measurements. Well, I understand that a regular tape, I mean, this is for only measuring things that are in a straight line. It just seems like a single rod would be a lot easier to use than this fucking thing. You know, here you have to make sure that they're straight. They're not bent at all. Maybe you do it that way on the ground. But anyway, that's the cool thing. Except it falls off my desk because my desk is tilted. So a friend of mine sent me a portrait he did, or Russell, you know Russell. Russell is one of the stars on this channel. He sent me two pieces of his art to hang in the gallery show that's coming up next month. And one is a portrait he did of me in oil paint. It's really, really neat. And it's very Russell, and it's very me. And then he sent me a drawing that is part of this thing that I'm calling a book. I don't know whether he thinks of it as a book, though they are in order, and it is a book. It works like a book where you see the elements in a temporal way. This one you see first, and then you see that one, and then you see this one. So they're not just random drawings. Anyway, he sent me these two things, and I feel I need to frame, well, I have to frame both of them. And the frame for the portrait, I was thinking if I owned the portrait, maybe I'll buy it from him if he wants to sell it. I might put it in a Victorian frame that I have, just because it sort of fits my persona. Whereas in the gallery, I think a simple frame, I'll use a simple frame, but I think it needs a frame. Oh, you saw the bit. Anyway, I'll be right back. So here's one of the original drawings that he made for his book. And you see the all the work that went into it. There's some pencil lines that you can see on this one where he mapped out the drawing. This is on much darker paper than I thought. He's using a very dark piece of paper compared to that. And when he scanned them in, he scanned them in so that they were black and white rather than black and tan. But so my plan is to have this thing framed in a very simple frame, and then this book hanging next to it on a string so people can see how it relates to the rest of the drawings in the book. Portrait he did, we were drawing each other on Skype and chatting, and I was drawing him and he was drawing me, and I don't know where the bunny came from, but he decided to turn my cat into a bunny, I think. But I love this picture. It's very fun, but it seems like it's like I'm pressed up against, my head is inside a fishbowl or a TV and I'm really pressed up against it. And there's something that's a little tiny bit claustrophobic about this, and I think it will look better, maybe more claustrophobic or something, when it's framed. So I have this very gaudy Victorian frame from 1880, but I don't like the color here. And then, so I have another one. It's simpler, but I might use this one. If I were to hang this in my house, I might hang it with this frame. But I think for the gallery, I'm going to use just a very simple frame. Trying to find one here in my house. This is 8 by 10, so I can go to any store and find a simple wooden frame for it. 8 by 10 is a standard size, and I wouldn't use this, but I could. But I think a black frame, something maybe a little bit fatter than that, is what I'll try to find. And I know I've got, well, I'll probably buy one at Target. Just because I think I'd like to have a little bit more choices, just to see if maybe a wood color frame might look better than a black one, or maybe a white frame would look better than or light color frame would look better. But it's fun. Yeah, black is always good. It's funny how tastes change. And there was once upon a time chrome frames where everyone wanted a chrome frame. Chrome was in and then wood was in, and then natural wood was in, and then wide frames were in, and then skinny frames, and it's of a yeah, yellow with all that purple would be good. I mean, I do have a yellow frame somewhere in my house. It's funny, it's bright yellow, and it would look very fun, but I don't know where that frame is, or even if I still have it. I've got hundreds of frames. This might be good for this one. Maybe. I think I want to show, I think this one might be better with sort of this white background. And the brown, in this case, works okay with this, with the tan paper, where black might be just a little too black. So this might be the frame I'll use for this one. Could fit perfectly in here, just a plain black edge. Or this one. This might be best. Plain black with just a little bit of white around it. I think that'll work. I think that one will work best for that. And for this, it really does look like I pushed my head up against a window and let me out of here. I'm trapped. So anyway, today I need to go to the dentist to have my crown taken off and a new one put in, a permanent one put in. That's my plan for today. And then I might end up maybe having dinner downtown on a Friday night somewhere in Boston. So maybe that's my plan. Well, dentists used to scare me more than they do now. And part of it is because I go to this dental school. So the people that are working on my teeth aren't even dentists yet, but they're students of dentistry. And they tell me what they're doing and they explain to me why they're doing it. Whereas I go to a normal dentist and they just say open wide, and then they get the drill and they drill, or they get the pliers and they yank, or whatever they're doing, but they don't explain what they're doing. And as I think part of the students learning, I think, is to explain to me what they're doing. And then before they do anything to me, they bring an actual teacher dentist who's over, and they say, well, this is Pierre, tooth number 2 needs a crown. And the student tells the doctor, the dentist, what I need and explains how he's going to do what he needs to do. And the teacher will say, yes, that's exactly right. Or, yes, that's very true, but it might work better if you do this. And I never get to the point where they're saying, that's a stupid idea. Don't do that. Uh, they, they might just say, I agree exactly with what you're saying. But I think the first tooth that really needs to be addressed is this one, not that one over there. I know he came in because of this one broke, but the one over there is more urgent, or something like that. So you don't want to know nothing. Well, I used to like that. I mean, yes, I could have, if I went to the dentist tomorrow, an actual dentist, and paid $20,000, I could get all of my teeth fixed right away. But I don't have that much money. I have to do this little by little, and the cost of the students doing it is about half what it would be if someone else was, if an actual, I went to an actual practice. So I am saving some money, even though it's taking longer. Okay, now, before I do anything else, I'm going to put away the things that I just took out of the drawer, because now my desk is completely full and I can't do anything with that happening. So let me put these things away in the drawer where they came from. Put this away where it came from. If I only would learn to do that. Just take the things that I was just using, that I'm done with, and put them back instead of leaving them. Anyway, Osni, I probably should continue to try to figure out what I need to do today. I'm trying to find the case for this iPad, which I thought was over here somewhere, but it isn't, because I'm going to use this iPad when I go to the dentist. I've been illustrating my trips to the dentist using this iPad, so I need to find the case for that one so I can go out today. But I don't know where I put it. Okay, you be good. See ya.